Hey, how is everybody? Happy Mother's Day. This is AKA Heather Joy, and you guys have all wandered onto the deck of the lifeboat, and you're definitely welcome. Glad you're here. Before I get started, I just want to run through the rules that we have. Number one, this is not a political channel, and the only time we discuss politics is at Tommy's discretion. Number two, this isn't a religious channel, and you may hear things like, I will pray for you, or I couldn't have gotten sober without my faith. That's fine, but you don't say anything like, my God is better than your God, or telling people things, this is why you're not getting into heaven. That doesn't fly here. The third one, please refrain from using foul language in the chat and the comment section. As Tommy always says, if you can't control your mouth, you can't control your life. And I wholeheartedly agree. And the fourth one, there is absolutely no place here for trolls, for mean people. If you decide you want to do that, you will be banned permanently. And here we go. Here are you guys. I've had the best Mother's Day. I've got my girls here, both this time. This is Maddie. This is number 2. Hi. And of course, you guys have already met Lexi.
Yep. For those of you who might have seen us talking last time with me and Mom, hi again. Good to be back.
Yeah, these are my pride and joy right here. I've always maintained, haven't I? I've always maintained that these are the two best decisions I've ever made in my whole life, to have these two. Best decision ever. And yeah, and they've come down and they spoiled their mother thoroughly, so can't complain. I have good girls. Definitely. Well, all right, I have some more questions for these ladies. And I show them so they have time to think about it. But this first one is for Maddie. Yeah, a few weeks ago, I was able to talk to your sister, so I was able to talk to her about quite a few things, and there were actually some things she said that really surprised me, that I wasn't aware of. That yeah, that was a little shocking, but we got through it. It was all good. But now Maddie's kind of in the hot seat, but she was number 2. She was the second one, so she was about 3 and some years younger, so
very young.
Yeah, so she was very little when a lot of the bad stuff was going on. So I know you don't remember so much, so I'm not going to ask you the same things, but I'm just curious, what was your overall feeling, your overall thoughts on your childhood with your mother as an addict?
So growing up, I didn't know until maybe my early 20s that you had an addiction to anything.
Really?
Growing up as well, I didn't understand what addiction was, per se. I didn't know that people could get addicted to pain medication, different kinds of drugs. For me, growing up, what I thought addiction was alcohol, cigarettes, and tobacco. That's really all like the understanding that I had. So I really didn't know anything we were going through addiction-wise until I was in my early 20s.
Wow, guys! I didn't.
So as a kid, I didn't really know what was going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what were you? What is your overall feeling of your childhood? Was it good? Was it bad? Or was it kind of mixture of both? Or
overall, my childhood was good. I mean, I can't complain.
Wow, guys!
I don't growing up, I knew Mom wasn't around as often, and it was mostly me and Dad and my sister Lexi here. But I mean, I had a good childhood.
Wow,
in my opinion.
Well, good. That's good to hear. That was really good to hear. Yeah.
It was good.
Wow.
I know not every family can say they're as lucky to. I don't know how. I feel like our experience might have been a bit unique, but I could say the same, that overall I would say my childhood was good, because I'm at where I'm at today. So You know, I feel kind of lucky in that regard. Because despite everything, I feel like you were doing your best to always be there for us and build us up. Yeah, I don't know. Some people will let everything that's on their mind out, and that can really be confusing and hard for a child to hear and comprehend. And I don't know. We didn't get so much exposure to that, perhaps. And so, like, we kind of knew things were going on, but how much of it was physical versus mental, and stuff. So whenever it was, whenever there would be times where, we'd notice you would be, maybe not in your right mindset, kind of zoned out, kind of out of it, really tired and stuff like that. I had no idea of really knowing what kind of like physical pain you were going in. Honestly, we thought it was just medication imbalances, and you'd be going back to the doctor to try and get that fixed. That's kind of how we would interpret it for a good chunk of our childhood. We didn't really realize that there was something else going on. And that you were addicted to the prescription pills until maybe later on. There was an incident I remember particularly where it was almost like you were just kind of in an aggressive state, and because you were afraid that we were going to get taken away, and a family member stepped in to remediate things and stuff. But that was not a good experience, because I could tell this was like a time I could tell mom was not in a good state of mind, because like here we were, like right there in front of us. But I think from that experience moving forward, he would I think they had taken you to the clinic later that night after things had gone down, and a family member was like, you guys go over here, watch TV, we're going to take care of this. And you didn't want that. You were like, I just want to take you guys home. Let me have my daughters and stuff. And it was at that point, I don't remember if that would have been like junior high, like 14, 15, maybe something like that. It felt like it was before high school for me.
Was it?
But at that moment, I kind of figured out, kind of put the pieces together in my mind that maybe this was something more than what we had previously thought.
Yeah, kind of going back to what I said and what my sister just said, the only understanding I had with your health issues at the time was I thought it was a mixture of medications that were altering your brain chemistry in such a way that you weren't normal.
Yeah, well, that was the case. It just wasn't what you thought. The source wasn't what you thought it was. And because I was constantly going to the psychiatrists for help. But if you're in an active addiction, it's not going to fix anything, So that was that's really wow. That's really interesting. That's wow. Yeah, I'm really glad we're talking about this finally. I think we need to. I think
both sides, both parties. It's really revealing. I remember having inklings of thoughts that this kind of conversation might happen later on in the future when we were all grown up and stuff. So it's cool. It kind of felt like it was coming. So it's cool to be able to talk about it now, just openly. And it is just it's just love, because I've seen my mom transform. She was pretty much a zombie, and she's gone from that to running marathons. She got me off the couch to start running again. I did cross country in high school. I took a break from it for a while, and like all of a sudden she's calling me, being like, "Hey, run this half marathon, run it, do it, come on, let's go." I was like, all right. It was cool.
Yeah. Well, that was your sister and Steven that got me going. So cool. Yeah, it was just this wonderful influence. Yeah. Absolutely. And you guys, I am so blessed to have these two, that they will sit down and come on camera in front of who knows how many people are and will see this, and here they are with me. They're right here with me, and I mean these are some treasures right here. Thank you, you guys. Really. Oh, there goes my phone timing out again. Have that. Anyway, okay, let's see what else did I write down here. Okay, so you kind of already answered this then, Maddie. So you kind of knew in your 20s that's when things were a little more than what you would you'd understood, right?
Yeah, than what I understood. And I can't pinpoint the exact like day or moment when I realized that it was a prescription pill addiction. But from what I'm trying to remember, you and I were maybe driving in the car together, or I was down visiting, and it just came up in conversation. And you told me your story a little bit about how you had an addiction to prescription. It was a prescription pain medication.
Pain meds of all kinds.
And I'd never once like been told anything about that. I didn't know anything about that, so it just casually came through conversation, and you know, it's like a switch in my brain. I was like, everything makes so much more sense. Yeah, it's like, wow, okay. And I kind of wish that I'd been told at the younger age that I was what you were going through, but I don't know if it was just people didn't want me to know, or they didn't know how to approach it in a way for me to understand.
And in the culture that you guys grew up in too, this is a very uncomfortable subject. You hide this from everybody at church. You don't speak of it. So when people in my ward here, when they find out that 15 years ago I was still an addict, they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
They're like, they're really
Yeah.
shocked. They're really, you hide it in this culture
Yeah, that's
here.
definitely probably a big factor into why, you know, I didn't know, like, my dad didn't ever tell me anything.
That surprises me that that your dad and Amanda didn't explain to you guys. I thought I always assumed, but that's not always, you assume, ask out of you and me. You know, if you assume, you don't know. And
it's, you know, it's kind of hard to say too, because I mean, I feel as though Dad pulled me aside or, you know, we were on like a hike or something like that. And I think he was using that time to talk to me about what was going on. And I feel as though just some of the stuff went over my head anyway. And so even if they did, I don't think it stuck. And
yeah, I would agree.
You know,
if I ever
did,
actually
I don't really remember.
If I ever actually was told or anything was mentioned about it, it may have gone in one ear and out the other. I
don't know.
But yeah, it wasn't until much later.
So maybe with this going on when you guys were so little, maybe that wasn't as much as detrimental, but then again, but even infants will pick up the stress from the mom.
Oh, sure.
And so I know I've done damage regardless. I know I've done damage to you guys, but I'm just, you know, I know there's a lot of people on the lifeboat that don't have their kids with them, or their spouse, or their family, their siblings, or their parents, or anybody, you know. And I want you guys to understand that you can get all this back. You can. There was a time when Stephen and I had to move down here away from you guys. It was the hardest thing to be away from you guys, because I'd had you guys every day.
Yeah.
That was weird. That was hard. And I worried terribly when your dad and I went through the divorce that I'd lose you guys forever. I knew I had no ground to, you know, to ask for equal custody. I mean, we worked it out, I think, fairly well. Considering,
it's convenient,
you know,
we're close by, you know, and that was good for us, I think. But I remember you being on the phone telling me that announcement, and I felt in that moment that I had stepped up as the adult, because I told you, you need to go to Richfield. You need to do this.
Yeah.
And I think it was for the best.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you take on an adult role a lot. I mean, you took care of even when these guys were just little, before Matt would speak. She had this jibber jabber, she just babbled, but you knew. Her big sister always knew. Yeah, Lexi always told me what Maddie was saying to me, which you know,
really hilarious. I work in. I know, you know, when we're spending that time together as kids, you just develop it. You just read it. I don't know, but it's funny because today I was a professional guidance provider, so here I am working with communications and translation. Oh, it's fun. Yeah.
So, both of you actually find it when it hit you, that you're okay, mom. Something about it. You feel about it. I think you probably already pretty much have that. It just everything made more sense. Was this something you wanted to hide from your friends or anything like your mom's not here?
Yeah, I had anything specifically like that going on. Yeah, it's an interesting question.
For me, because I didn't have any
Hang on. Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
We've got we've got
really
bad weather
weather.
here. I'm sorry. I was afraid that might happen, but yeah, if this goes out again, hang tight, and we'll try to come back up. Sorry about that, guys. It's been raining all day long here, and yeah, it rained a lot yesterday too, didn't it? So yeah, it's and when the storm's here, Wi-Fi just sucks. It sucks anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Oh,
So
sorry.
like, no, going back to what I was saying, I can kind of remember, you were asking if we ever had any sort of like, we were ashamed of you once we did like, find out, the truth behind everything that was going on with you with your health. I've never been ashamed of you as my mom. And when I did find out, I mean, honestly, nothing really changed. If anything, I was just like happier to finally understand what was going on. And with, with my friend groups and all that, we honestly didn't really talk that much about each other's parents. I mean, we were just young girls. We focused on our hobbies and, our likes and whatnot.
As it should be.
As it should be. And, if you did ever come into to a topic or a conversation, I don't know, I probably said something along the lines of like, my mom's just, and this is still true to this day, you're just the nicest, kindest person ever. Like,
Spouse.
Like, funny, kind, always there to help other people out above, your own needs. And but
until I go no,
I was just say no, but kind of it's not really something I've thought about that much, but when I did find out, it just in a way put me at more peace, because then like I said, I just understood more and was able to
How?
I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Things just kind of fit into place. I remember feeling anger out of ignorance at one point, perhaps. Feeling angry out of confusion, because if we were your biggest priority, why did you keep choosing to do this? I didn't fully understand, though. So when it comes to things like this, it just really goes back to talking. And as I came to understand, things just made a whole lot more sense. Yeah.
You guys, I can't ask for better kids. Seriously. You guys are blowing my mind. Okay, I'm curious with both of you, what do you think was damaging to both of you psychologically with your mom being an addict? What? Because I know it did. I know it caused problems. It had to all of a sudden your mom just after we moved down here, your mom was not around every day. It was different. Did that really throw you?
To an extent, I think it may have affected me as a social being, and having an absence of a mother figure probably, I mean, I didn't really know how to be a girl in some regards, if that makes sense. Like just having that what normally would be like the person I could come to with questions, or just like bring up the casual conversation, that was no longer really there. And I didn't always feel like it was I just usually didn't want to bring up these kinds of sensitive topics, whatever it was. because I couldn't really trust your state of mind necessarily.
Yeah.
So like, who knows if I was gonna get, you know, a sincere response, or like if it was going to be taken seriously. Because like I didn't want to open up and be vulnerable if stuff wasn't going to be received. And so a lot of the times I felt like I would carry what my personal burdens on my own shoulder, but I also didn't want to bother people with it too. So I think there was some of that going on. And
That totally makes sense too.
yeah, yeah. So but I mean, at the same time, I have been, like growing up, I was always doing more boy stuff anyway. You know, rock climbing, picking bugs. You know, beating up kids at school,
You're always a
whatever. Like,
tomboy.
yeah, I
You're
was.
always the most
I
beautiful
pretty
tomboy.
thank you. So there was that, but like I feel like it may have put me so, it just probably made me close up in a lot of regards. And so life became go to school, go to home, do your homework, be with your parents, just routine and stuff. And so like I don't think
Maybe you didn't
I
have
was
much
able
of a social life.
not much of a
but-
social. Yeah, my friends were at school, and that was about it. We
Mhm.
didn't really associate outside of class, and so I probably struggled socially. And then you know I can look back and cringe at a lot of stuff I did in high school, just like, but just because I think it was weird, honestly.
Yeah.
A little
Well, I'm
bit.
just thinking too, though, you followed the pattern of your mother too, as far as friends, because I only had
Mhm.
like two
Very
very
true.
best friends. I didn't hang around with like a group of people. I
Oh,
spent time with Rebecca or with Kennelie, and that was it.
As far,
And I worked, you know, after
Yeah,
school too, in
yeah.
high school. And so I just, you know, I didn't have, so there might be something there too, just where,
a little bit,
you know,
okay.
I don't know, but yeah.
I mean, I could say I had like 3 close friends from from junior high through high school.
Mhm.
And then the rest of my friends, I would see them at school. I mean, so I kind of like floated around from like group to group.
Mhm.
You know, but I was,
yeah, you did.
I
That's
did.
a good, yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of floated around. But not until like senior year of high school did I finally really kind of break out of that. Joined a cross country, met some really good people there. So
And now
Yeah.
your whole group of friends with both of you
Yeah.
is yeah, they're a group of friends now. They're all in it, and
Yeah.
they got a massive. Really, I've met so many of them, and they're amazing.
They are.
Oh,
they
they've got
a lot of them
great
come from
friends.
similar situations as well, and
Yeah,
so
they
we've
do.
really kind of come together as a chosen family, and that's been a real cool thing to have. So
Good. Oh, yeah. Well, how about you?
Me, I was thinking about this question a little bit earlier, and one thing that keeps popping up in my mind right now. So there was a time when I think I was maybe in 2nd or 3rd grade,
Mhm.
and you had picked me up from school, and you had a doctor's appointment,
Mhm.
and your your driving to the doctor's office was maybe one of the scariest driving experiences I've ever been in.
Oh dear.
You were obviously not there,
Mm-hmm.
swerving in the
Wow.
road, you know, slamming on the brakes. We were almost hitting other
Mm.
cars. We made it.
We made it,
We
yeah,
made
but
it, you know, no accidents.
yeah.
And
Well, I've told everybody on the boat that I drove under the influence with you guys in the car before.
Mhm.
I've admitted that, you know, I own it.
Yeah.
It's not you when you're in that state of mind, you think you can handle it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I mean, sorry.
And
Anyways,
I know that, like, that's
that's terrifying for you.
It's a core memory. It's, you know, it's a scary memory that I can remember.
Yeah.
And I think maybe psychologically
Mhm.
it affected me in a way where, especially when, you know, I came down to visit, or we would come down to visit, I'd always be so happy when you had your license and you were able to drive,
yeah.
and you didn't
Mhm.
drive.
Mm-hmm.
Or when I had my license, I drove. I don't know, it
Yeah.
maybe caused me in a way to kind of try and control the situation I'm in.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, it makes total
And-
sense too. You know. Wow, I'm sorry. Yeah, this mother really mucked up. But, you know,
We're
definitely
still
not that
here.
way anymore. Not that way anymore.
Mhm.
I still, however, driving sober, I'm still a scary driver. They'll admit it. Yeah, I took him to Vegas for my 47th birthday.
Yes.
And I scared the crap out of
Little
him,
bit.
and I wasn't under any influence except just happy to be with him. But yeah, I scared him. I'm not a good driver. Yeah, Tommy's even seen a little of that. Yeah.
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 There is maybe one other time during your years of addiction when you fell down the stairs.
Oh.
You were carrying a basket of laundry and there was a baby gate,
Oh.
because that's when we had Lady,
Okay.
the dog.
Yeah.
Lady. And you tried crawling over the gate and you lost your balance and tripped and you fell down the stairs right
Oh.
here
Okay.
on the front of the door. And I remember seeing you fall down, and then all of a sudden the ambulance and paramedics were here.
Wow, I have no
'Cause you
memory.
I
had
feel as though I was here. I think
You
I
were
called
here.
them at your request.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You were
you
at
had
least
requested to call.
you were at
911.
least like in your head enough to know like that we need a third party here.
Mhm. Oh wow.
And
I have no memory of that at all.
Yeah.
I don't remember what age I was. I was still very young.
Yeah.
But seeing the paramedics, I mean, it's such a high stress, scary situation. I remember running into the
Yeah.
bathroom and just breaking down because
Oh.
I didn't know it was a situation that I couldn't control.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, and I didn't know what was going on. And that's also a big moment when I knew and realized I was like, there's something much more going on with Mom than,
Yeah.
you know, whatever health issues you're going through. And
Wow. Sorry.
No, it wasn't your fault, Mom. It's
No, it was.
I mean,
It
it
was.
was.
It was
but,
my
you
choice.
know, it's
But yeah.
in the past, and
Yeah. Well, it won't happen again. I can guarantee you that. Guarantee you that. That's one thing they always say too. You know, you can never say that you're never. You know, you're once an addict, always an addict. But I can tell you, I am a former addict. I can promise you that. I can promise you that. And yeah, let's
It's
go back to
possible.
that. It
People-
is possible, guys.
That has been a really cool thing to see in some of the stories you've told and some of the things I've you know, as a captioner, I get to hear lots of stories, and people can change, and they can change permanently, and they can change for the better if they want to.
That's the key.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, you two were two of the big reasons why. That, you know, but because honestly, you start when you're just, you hate yourself so badly, and you've done this for so long that you just want out of that life. And you know, you finally get to where you're willing to just do whatever to get out of it, but you hate yourself so bad you do it for other people first before you do it for yourself. And you two and Steven were my big reasons why I wanted to get sober and end this, you know, end that insanity, because that's all it really was just endless insanity. It was anyway. Okay, let's
I'm
see.
glad we could do that.
Let me check that time. Okay, we got half an hour. All right. Okay, let's see. Okay. Oh, okay. When did both of you notice that I had first changed? I know you've kind of answered this before, but going forward, because there's probably a lot of people that haven't heard
If you haven't
it
heard the
too.
story before, yeah, we have a family member who is big into water skiing, water boating, and for a while he did the lake boat or the
houseboat.
The houseboat at
we
Lake
had the-
Powell thing.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
we take a trip, and you were saying something to the point of like it's finally happened, and your aura was different. And then when we get there, rest of the family showing up, you're hanging out with your siblings, you know, your mom, like grandma's there, like a bunch of people are there, and you were like,
I wasn't isolating.
you weren't isolating, you were laughing, you were loud, you were also joining in the conversation, bringing up, you know, funny stories, and it was so much of a shock for me. Like, I was kind of weirded out. Like,
it threw you.
It threw me for a loop. I was like, I know Mom's mentioned she was like a cheerleader back in the day, but I feel like I'm meeting that person for the first time. It was just kind of funny to me, but like, after I got over that sort of initial teenage weirdness, you know, kind of like, what is this? It was really cool to see. And so I think from that moment, after that trip, things were totally different. It was cool.
That was kind of when you first saw it.
Yeah. So the cool thing was seeing this person, not just as the person that I had grown up with and gotten used to know. I was meeting this like my mother as her own individual for the first time, like breaking through all the cloud and fog to see like who this bright spirit was down in here. It was cool. It was cool.
Yeah.
And it shined out.
Yeah. Well, I know it really weirded you out for a little while.
A little while. It was
because I was very different. You know, and even my mother. I think that was when my mother. I talked the entire way. No, it was the year before. I talked to her the entire way down, and I talked the entire time when we got there. And she put the car in park, and she looked at me and she said, "You have never done that. Ever. What is wrong with you?" She thought I was on something, and I'm like,
yeah, no, that's fine. I'm fine, man. So that was cool. I couldn't tell you what year that was, but it was a while ago. It was years ago.
2015 or 2016, because it was before like that Lake Powell trip.
2016 was like the big year that I just all of a sudden came into myself again. Finally, I had been sober, but it took like a couple of years of being. I was sober, but I was still in an addict mindset. And it wasn't until 2016 that all of a sudden I started just reading book after book after book again, where I hadn't been reading in years, you know. And I don't know, everything just came alive again. I felt alive for the first time. I started to give a damn about everything again. Where before, and that's when I quit taking all the antipsychotics they had me on too. And those were keeping me down too. That was a mess too. But really, so if you said 2016, that was probably
like, when the reason I remember that little tiny side story. I was supposed to be in Boise, Idaho on a date with my now boyfriend, but instead I went to Lake Powell with my family.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I flaked off on the date and I went to Lake Powell instead. But anyway,
it was worth it, wasn't it?
It was worth it. It was
fun.
a very fun trip. But yes, I think I had seen you a little bit before that trip, and I also recognized and I saw your behavior and your personality change, and it was like a light switch.
It really was.
It really was.
Total difference.
It was almost like whiplash for a moment. Because you were talking so much more, you were laughing, you were present, like you were here, like,
and you
with
were
us,
enjoying,
with me, and you were enjoying
things.
You know, because compared to before, you were constantly tired and just like in a completely different mindset. You weren't present, you weren't here. It was just like fog. Fog, and so
that's okay. I just heard that think. That usually means somebody's come on, but I don't.
But I recognized the change about the same time you did.
I remember that because that was when remember when we put the red dye in your hair.
Yes,
that's when it looked fantastic.
Yes, I used to have red hair. Yep.
You had almost every color. You looked fabulous the whole time.
Cool.
It's not fair.
At the same time.
Let's see. Okay. So I'm just curious though, were you guys skeptical that I would stay that way? Were you kind of like, gonna just kind of wait and see?
No, I would say
Because
I would say definitely.
I don't think you were. But I think you were.
Because there were times we'd come to visit, things were good. Other times things were not good.
Yeah.
And there would be times, in those times it'd be like, is she aware that we're here? I don't know.
Oh wow.
And so even after there was like a definite change, just naturally, I think anybody would have been skeptical, because until there's a bit of that time to really prove yourself that you have changed, people are just gonna kind of have that naturally but
Yeah, I just decided,
Yeah.
honestly, I made the decision that, it's going to take time for people to understand I'm completely serious about changing my life. And I think there's only one family member now that doesn't think it will last. And I'll just say, hey, just watch me.
Just watch it, man. Yeah.
Just watch it.
Living it every single day.
Yeah. I mean, it is hard to change a habit as a normal sober person. Changing a habit is really difficult. So having recovered and getting not just that state of mind, but those habits that you built up day to day, that was also going to take time.
Yeah.
And so to see you again go from the couch to out there running and taking care of your health and really taking charge of yourself.
Yeah.
It was
I think it took that time too, from the time that 2008, when I finally got sober, like abstinent sober. It still took a decade almost to work through all the crap from my childhood.
Yeah.
To finally break free of everything. And it was 2016, really, when I felt like I'd finally broken out of some of that. I mean, there's still stuff that I'm working on, but it was finally when I felt secure enough in myself, I could finally be me.
Yeah.
And I didn't care what anybody else thought. That was a big for me. I felt free. Oh, okay. Okay, we're back. Sorry.
There's something affecting us, so geez, if we cut.
Yeah. It's I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so I get mingled.
So it realizes.
Yeah. But come on. Okay. So I'll ask you guys about this one. What's been the positive? Has there been anything positive about your mom being an addict? Is there anything like
Best thing weird for me in this Stansfield club was a decision. I don't know how am I saying this. I speak English, I swear. I decided this was going to be me. That I had seen what you had gone through, all these ups and
let's see if we can get through this next part so we don't have to do this. You guys don't want to get up early.
but I would. Yeah.
Okay.
So the positive things. Positive things that came from this.
Yeah.
It was it was quite the example of how I didn't want to live my own life, and I did not want to end up having drawers full of pills. I didn't want to always be in and out of the doctors, and so I just made that decision. And so like I didn't even need a school class to tell me. I was just never even going to bother with it, and anybody that was going to offer me anything, I was just going to say I really don't, because I've seen some of this. I've seen what it can do. I'm going to decide. that's honestly, it was a good prevention, I guess. I've never sort of interest in it.
Good.
You?
For me, it's kind of the same. My sister just mentioned, never had any interest in drugs, and if anything, especially after I learned that my mom had an addiction to pain medication, I'm, if anything, like terrified of prescription drugs now.
Just, I mean, especially because the
And-
possibility of like us inheriting now.
Yeah, you might have the gene.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I stay away from it as much as I can, and taking care of, taking
Yes.
care of my own health, physically, mentally.
Yeah, you guys are both very good about that. I've watched. You're both very good.
I think other family members have also kind of helped in that too. We've had some pretty bad diabetes cases in our family and stuff. So just health has always been kind of the forefront for us, just because we've seen it. We've seen it in our own family and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think another positive is just having awareness of what can happen with not only addiction, the family, with siblings, I don't know. Like we have understanding of what you've been through that we can't necessarily relate. We have much more empathy for all of you out there that this stuff does happen, but change is absolutely
Okay, we're gonna try this one more time. We're just gonna call it. I'm really sorry about this. I don't understand it because now it's a little clearer than it was. But anyway, well, I wanted to ask you guys. What were you guys told about drugs when you guys were in high school? Did you have anybody really teach you anything about them at all? Like,
for me. High school, not so much. I don't remember learning about really addiction or drugs in general in high school. I remember their program in elementary school. So
It's kind of the tail end of it, I think.
yeah, kind of the tail end of it, learning in 6th grade. But all I really remember learning from the DARE program is that, say no to alcohol, say no to cigarettes, say no to tobacco. I don't remember them touching prescription pills from other people or anything else.
Similar, like honestly, especially when it came to like the DARE program, like weed was like the big thing. Like I remember presentation. Okay, sorry. It's like yeah, honestly, not too much. Yeah, cigarettes, like weed was like, I mean, we really hard back then. Yeah.
And they, you see a poster board with images of maybe some images, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe cocaine or something. I don't really remember, but like it was just kind of, oh, these are here too, but they were really focused on
The gateway.
yeah.